It's no secret that women want to get married. But it is also no secret that men are sometimes reluctant to take the plunge. If you're wondering why he hasn't popped the question yet, it might be because you are making one of these 5 mistakes. Number 1. Playing the housewife game. Women often try to impress potential partners by trying to prove that they are capable of being good housewives ahead of time. This invites the wrong type of men who take advantage of them and ultimately turn them into doormats. If you find yourself doing all his cooking, washing his clothes, doing his shopping, and even living in his house, just to prove your housewife capabilities beforehand, you might just have devalued yourself in front of him, which unfortunately will not guarantee he will marry you. Men will only respect you if you respect yourself. Just because he is dating you doesn't mean he will marry you. So you have to stop trying to act like a wife when you are not yet. By forcing you to do the job of a housewife before you are married, they can control you and use you as much as they want, then drop you when you least expect it. The end loser in this type of game is you. Men are not children. They don't need to be mothered. If a man wants you to be his wife, he has to put a ring on your finger first. But letting him use you for all the benefits of a wife is one of the worst things you can tolerate. A man might appreciate a few kind gestures, but that doesn't mean you should go to extremes just to impress him. The truth is, real men are attracted to confident women who know their worth. They don't need you to prove yourself. It is only an insecure and doubtful man who wants to take advantage of you will force you to prove yourself. In fact, doing all these things before you are married could be an indicative sign that you are desperate and don't know your worth. If you find yourself in a relationship where you're doing all the cleaning, cooking, shopping, and even giving him all your money, you might just have unknowingly signed up for a charity. Number 2. Too much expectations, but little to offer. Women often have high expectations for men without considering what they have to offer in return. All they want is a man who can take care of them and give them everything they desire. They want a knight in shining armor who will provide for them financially, emotionally, and physically. The real question every woman needs to ask herself is, what has she also got to offer? Merely listing your skills, like cooking and taking care of kids, isn't enough to answer this question. Those are good values, but they're not the only reason why a man would want to marry you. Women need to remember that men also want a woman who has something to offer. She needs to give him a reason to choose her out of the 1,000 women he comes across on a daily basis. Cooking, cleaning, and raising kids can be done by most women. These are not high values that put you at a much higher competitive advantage over other women. Since most women are naturally born with these values, there has to be something unique about you that cannot be found in every woman. One of the things that can make you unique and indispensable is the value you bring to his life. Reminding him of his appointments, helping him cut down on his expenses, giving him valuable advice are some of the few things that can make him value your presence. Your ability to bring out the best potential in a man is what will make him choose you over anybody else. So many women simply act as burdens. They don't really contribute anything valuable to a relationship, and so he sees no need to get married to you because he doesn't see the value you will bring to his life. When a man finds values in you that he can't see in another woman, it will be very difficult for him to think of leaving you for somebody else. A man wants a woman who can have a positive impact on his life. Having things in common with other women is not going to make you stand out to the man you want. In fact, you will just blend in with all the other women he knows. But when you have unique values, you will be confident knowing you are irreplaceable. Number 3. Too fast and too furious. Pushing too hard for a relationship to progress quickly is a major turnoff for men. They often want to take things slow and steady rather than rushing into marriage. If you're constantly pressuring him and rushing him toward the altar, he's going to start feeling overwhelmed and suffocated. What men really want is a woman who is patient and understanding. Someone who knows that relationships take time to develop. If you want him to marry you, back off and give him the time and space he needs to make that decision. Don't get too excited when you meet a man. On your first day of meeting, you shouldn't share all your problems. You shouldn't be telling him about all your exes and how many you had. You shouldn't be telling him about the bills you owe. About your parents? The street you live on. Not to talk of planning a wedding on the first day. or telling him how many children you want. All these make you come across as desperate and vulnerable, and may make him feel like he's setting himself up for trouble. A relationship that grows too fast, dies too fast. Number 4. Being too clingy and needy. One of the most unattractive things to a man is a woman who is too needy. If you are always clingy and dependent on him, then he will start to feel suffocated. Men want to be with women who are independent and self-sufficient. If you want him to marry you, then you need to give him some space and let him breathe. Being needy doesn't just apply to physical space, but also to your emotions. If you are always looking to him to make you happy, then you will be putting a lot of pressure on him. This will make him feel like he has to be there all the time, and that is a lot of responsibility. Instead, work on being emotionally independent. This means giving him a bit of breathing space, not always expecting him to instantly pick up your calls or reply to your messages. This doesn't mean you can't be happy when he's around, but that you should also be able to find happiness on your own. One of the best ways to show your independence is to have your own hobbies and interests. This will give him the space he needs while still showing that you are an interesting and well-rounded person. Pursue things that make you happy and don't always include him in everything you do. A man wants a woman who has her own life and her own interests. If you give up your life for him, he will never see you as a woman who has a purpose and will never marry you. Number 5. Thinking your beauty is all it takes. Women often mistakenly think that their beauty is all it takes to snag a man and get him to marry them. This couldn't be further from the truth. Sure, being physically attractive is a great start, but there's so much more to a lasting relationship than just looks. Yes, men might be visual creatures, but that's not all they're looking for. If you want to get a man to marry you, you need to be more than just a pretty face. You need to be smart, kind, interesting, and someone he can see himself spending the rest of his life with. Men aren't looking for women who are beautiful, but they are looking for women who make their world beautiful. It takes beauty to attract a man, but it takes character to keep him. If beauty was all men sought in a wife, then every model in the world would have been married today. In fact, the main reason our parents got married to each other had little to do with their looks. Your dad saw the values and potentials your mom had to offer. That is why he could afford to pick her out of the many women he saw. Your mom didn't dress in some fancy clothes or wear all the killer heels and tight clothing just to attract your father. But your father saw the potential in her, which is why he chose her. If it is your desire for a man to marry you, then you need to start standing up for yourself and showing some self-worth. So instead of trying to impress him, focus on building yourself. So there you have it. If you want to get married, avoid making these 5 mistakes. Be yourself, don't be needy, don't be a nag, be independent, and try to have some values. Do those things, and he'll be much more likely to want to marry you. Thank you for watching. If you love our videos, please feel free to subscribe to our channel.